Anshuman. Okay, cool, cool. Hey Anshuman, hi. And for our viewers, it's a live stream and it's another episode of FPL Variance, powered by Fantasypedia. And yeah, Fantasypedia, as you know, is the one-stop shop for everything related to FPL, whether it's captaincy, transfer decisions. All you have to do is follow them on Twitter for regular updates. And for your FPL content, your FPL podcast content, we are here. And yeah, brand new episode. I'm Zishan, your host, and I have Anshuman with me. How's the game week, Anshuman? Yeah, pretty much the same story. Was down to like 6 or 7 players, but took a big hit, which sort of paid off, but not a big rise in terms of the overall ranking. Nunes captain had a lot of promise, but he was hooked off early after scoring 1 goal. Could have been worse, but let's move on. It's a short turnaround, and we have a lot of things to look forward to. So take us through it, Anshuman. What have we got in store today?
Yeah, a lot of people saying audio check. Sorry, guys. Now I think it should be fine, and hopefully you guys can hear me clearly now. And okay, so the agenda today is we'll not go deep into a lot of statistics and everything because we don't have the time for it. Also, most people have covered it. The stats look fairly uh, good and okay for both players, which are in prime discussion, Saka and Foden. So we will go through our opinions and we'll take up questions from the chat going ahead in about 45 minutes to the deadline. Look into benching headaches because I have a lot of them as well. And look into fixtures if there's anything we can provide insight and wait for team news as it goes.
Yeah, that sounds very promising. So, like you said, the two hot topics, the two in-demand midfielders, Foden and Saka. We'll sort of start with that. So, yeah, let's start with it, Anshuman.
Yeah, so a lot of people are still considering Foden. Personally, I would prefer Saka if I could. Now, there are two ways to look at it. One, you can look at City as a team, they're very good. Obviously, they score goals. They have 3 home games coming up in the next four. At All of them are pretty easy for them, and Foden could be in the mix of the goals. Yes, that's an upside, but I think Saka only because the fact that he has penalties just makes it even for me. So if you can get Foden as a priority this week because he has an easier fixture probably, it is at home and Arsenal away from home haven't been that great. They've been putting up decent XG, not exceptionally well. At home, they're a much better team. Also, the three easy fixtures they have, two of them are away from home. So if you look at everything, Foden looks like the better pick on paper. But personally, I'm not very confident. I think it could be a case where Saka just outschools just because of the penalties. It's just too much of a swing that he could make because of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout, and penalties is a huge factor. And there's no doubt that these two players belong to the top two teams in the league. So there's not much to split between them. But I think Foden still sort of edges it for me, purely based on his underlying numbers and not just this season, but historically he's been quite good. Chemistry, his partnership with Haaland is getting better with time, and he's a nailed-on attacker in a Guardiola team, something that is really rare, and his price is really good. So I think there are a lot of positives. The only factor I think in Saka's favor is the penalties. So I think it's very close between them. But if I had to pick just one, which is something that I've done for my team as well, I had to bring in one of them this week, and I went for Foden this week. A really good fixture, like you said, they're playing at home against Brighton, who are conceding a lot of chances. So there is very good upside over there. Historically, I don't know if that really makes a difference, but he always tends to do well versus Brighton. His past 4 games, he's got like 40 points against that particular opponent. So he thrives in that fixture.
He's
Uh,
due to blank as well then.
yeah, the classic FPL folklore. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be the case, but yeah, I think Foden, I would just prefer him over Saka, but Saka is right up there. He's number two if Foden is number one right now in terms of transfer targets.
Okay, a lot of people asking questions on Liverpool lineup. So the Liverpool league lineup is expected to come 5 or 10 minutes before the deadline. So if you're waiting for Darwin or Trent or probably Milner or some other news, for me, no Salah. So just wait till then. I think it's very likely the news will come 10 minutes before. We will let you guys know as soon as the news comes in. As of now, we know that Milner starts, which also could probably mean Trent doesn't start, which is expected and which is totally fine because He came just back from an injury. He played in the City game. He played 90 minutes in the midweek. I don't think he should start this one. Ajax is a more important game. Probably will be rested today. Okay, so a lot of people confirming Milner start. So I think for people who have Trent, can cautiously look at alternatives or start looking at alternatives at the moment.
Yeah, I think this fair. Also, the fact that I think Nunez's troubles with the niggles the other day could be a factor. It could be a case of obviously Trent played a lot of minutes, so he could get the benching, and Elliot I heard might be in contention as well. So we could
Yeah.
see Elliot on the right wing, Carvalho keeping his place on the left wing, and yeah, if you want Salah, I think this is great news. Salah could play up front along with Firmino. So yeah, I think this potential good news. We'll find out soon.
So the second question, basically, a lot of people have, which even I had in my thought. Now that if you wanted to go for someone in the attack, it's probably Jesus, Darwin, or Firmino. These are three prime options. Given that the fact that Darwin might be missing out on this game, Jesus is on four yellow cards. Do you think Firmino is a decent option? I know you have him in your team, but would you recommend it to someone who's looking as for Darwin as an option, but could go Firmino this week?
I think I will, and like we just discussed, and it's something that we've been discussing in the past as well. Jota and Diaz are out, and I know Carvalho will probably get minutes. Elliot could get minutes, but if you're looking at senior attackers, right, you're looking at someone like Salah, Firmino, and Nunez who might have his injury issue. So I think that all these factors bode really well for Firmino's expected minutes. So I think he's a very good shout. He scored a lot of goals this season. I expect that trend to continue. And it's not like you're going to captain Firmino in any of the game week. So the price is good. I think I would just bring him in and leave him there. He'll get a lot of points till game week 16.
So over Nunes?
No, over Nunez, no. But again, if you're looking at, let's say you're wildcarding this week, or let's say picking a transfer for this week, there are question marks over Nunez. So if you wait till the deadline and if you find out that Nunez is starting, then yes, you get Nunez. But there's already uncertainty, and if it's confirmed that Nunez is not starting, or if there is no news, I would just play safe and get Firmino. Nunez is, I think, the second best forward option for me in the game, apart from Haaland, and that reflects in his numbers. He's I think top two for most of the metrics, whether it's shots per 90, in terms of XG per 90 and stuff like that. It's just that he's not had consistent starts because of a number of reasons, right? Obviously, he did that thing and he got sent off, and since then it has not been consistent. But yeah, as long as his fitness issues this week are out of the window, I expect him to score a lot of goals in the next few weeks.
I mean, a lot. I'm not. I'm sure that Darwin gets points, and if he's fit, he's the better option. But if not Darwin, I'm not very pro on Firmino. The only reason I feel that it would become a doubt next game week because that's again because he plays midweek. He played the last two games as well. He's playing this one, and it again becomes a minute issue. And I'm not very confident. If I would take a chance on Jesus. I know he's on four yellow cards. If he is out of the Nottingham Forest game, unfortunately you're unlucky that you can't do anything. But if he plays the next two and if he's out for the Chelsea game, I wouldn't mind it. I would play Andreas and get over with it.
Right. So, do you think that Klopp sort of has that trust on Carvalho and Elliot to start that one-off game? Because if you're looking at Firmino as a doubt and Nunez potentially, being a doubt as well, then do you think Salah just lines up front, plays all the games, and do we think Klopp trusts Carvalho and Elliot enough to be his left wingers and right wingers?
No, so I think Firmino starts this one and the next one. And Nunez probably gets 30 odd minutes this one and starts the next one. So the problem is the game next against Leeds. We don't know who starts for sure because Firmino has played enough minutes now to get rested. And it could be again Darwin and Salah up top, and Elliot could manage on the right wing. And it's not a bad option. I think on a 4-4-2, they do decent. They have, if Trent is fit, he can also manage, and Elliot could tuck in back. So I think it's probably the minutes issue which comes in with Darwin and Firmino at the moment for me. So even with
Yeah.
the four yellow cards, I would prefer Jesus at the moment.
I think that's a fair shout, and Jesus has done well. The only thing that sort of puts me off is that he does not have penalties. When the season started, I was kind of hoping that that would be the case, but that's not the case. He was on the pitch when Saka took the penalty. I think that's a very big factor, and the
Yeah.
price is somewhat similar. And uh, Gabriel Jesus, I think even this season he's sort of underperformed his XG. I think he's got an XG of 5.99, and he scored 5 goals. So I'm not saying that he will continue to underperform. It's a good thing that he's getting chances, but when a striker is taking 1.2 xg to score a goal, I think I would probably proceed with caution. And he's a great player, but I think in terms of FPL, probably I would look at Saka or maybe another midfielder, maybe two at the back. Depending on your appetite for risk or upside chasing, of course. But yeah, neither are bad options at this
Yep.
point. I agree with that.
Just another question. If for people who cannot afford Saka or Jesus, would you recommend Odegaard to someone?
Oh yeah, definitely. I really like Odegaard. I think I think he can match someone like Martinelli. He plays right behind the striker. Obviously, he won't have underlying numbers as great as the other, but purely in terms of the role that he plays, he's always in central areas. All he has to do is be clinical when he gets those chances, and I think he has that quality. And again, we've discussed that City and Arsenal do have good fixtures till game week 16. So if you're looking at a punt who's sort of a differential, bring him in, roll the dice, and maybe you'll get lucky. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I think if we had to pick between Foden and Saka to sum it up for people, Foden is your first choice this game week because he has like good four fixtures coming up. He is probably in the mixed bag of goals for City. Second, Saka, if you can afford him, he's on penalties, which swings it between Saka and Jesus. On the forward spot, we are a bit split. If Darwin was fit, we would go Darwin. Obviously, between Firmino and Jesus, Z feels that Firmino could be doing better. I think Jesus, even with the 4 yellow cards, is a better pick.
Yep. I think that's fair. But I think there's obviously a bit of mixed bag in terms of forwards, but I think in terms of midfielders, we're pretty clear in terms of the order. If you're looking at
Yeah.
transfers, so like Foden and Saka definitely should be a top two, regardless.
And Mihir is asking for thoughts on my team. Mihir, you're doing decent, aren't you? So I don't think you need any updates and tips from us. You probably want to come onto the panel and help other people with their teams right at the moment.
Yes, be the savior, Mihir. Help us out.
Yeah.
Help others out. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start taking questions from the chat. There aren't major talking points apart from this, I think.
Yeah, before we head to the chat questions, and Shuman, I thought we'll just take some of the questions that we have from Twitter.
Yeah,
And
sure.
again, they're like really similar. There are questions about Darwin Nunes, so we've sort of covered that. So I don't think there's this point sort of going back with that. You just have to hold on till the 5-10 minutes before the deadline. One question that stood out to me, apart from the generic ones, was that FPL underscore 3P. He has a wildcard related question. So if you were to wildcard this week, he wants to know what formation would you opt for? Would you go for a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, and why?
Probably a 3-5-2. I think going in midfield, probably dock it up with Salah, Foden, Saka. Uh, you can go Rashford. So that's 4 picks, and Martinelli, that's 5. Or Odegaard instead. So I think there are 5, and there are meta midfielders. If you like the players of the order of Tony or Skamaka up top, then probably a 3-4-3 suits you. Like in a 3-5-2, you can probably fit in players, and if possible, you have options to switch around. I think with those players, and they'll probably set and forget, especially with penalties getting in there. Haaland and Mitrovic stick for me, and then Mitrovic in 15 can become Skamaka when he has 2 good fixtures. So I think that's pretty settled. The only change that I would think and look at is if today, according to a source, which like it's a predicted lineup, but they have Trent in midfield. So if that's the case, then I would be tempted to go a 3-4-3 with Trent in the team.
Yeah, that's a fair shot, and I hope that answers your question. FPL underscore 3P. And yeah, let's move on to the questions that we have on the live chat. Anshuman.
Yeah. So a lot of people asking about Darwin, guys. We will get news on Darwin about 10 minutes before deadline. So hold your questions for Darwin till then, because then we'll have a clearer picture if he's starting or not, and accordingly we can answer you guys. Also, before we move ahead, please do hit the like button. We have about 50 people watching and just 4 likes. So make sure you hit the like button. It pushes our content to new people and more people.
And subscribe the channel as
Yeah,
well, guys.
subscribe the
Because
channel if you haven't.
yeah.
Okay, so Shobit saying play Kilman, Justin, or Emerson. He's 3 picks. I think it's Emerson Royal. If it's Emerson Royal, I would play him over Justin and Kilman.
Yeah,
Agree?
I think I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because he's a part of the predicted lineup as well from Paul this week. So
Yeah.
yeah, go for it.
I think we'll do this format only. I'll read out the questions and then we can give our opinions on it. If not, unless we have contradictory opinions, and then you can talk about it.
Yeah.
For people asking, I've not wildcarded this week. Will I be wasting my wildcard? Probably you should wildcard if you have. If someone in the chat has their wildcard still, this is probably the ideal game week you want to wildcard. You can get in 3 Arsenal, 3 City, probably 2 Liverpool, and set up your team very well. You'll be at least a transfer or 2 ahead of other people. And I think if you have a wildcard, just use it.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's the optimal time if you somehow still held your wild card because I
Yeah.
was advocating a game week 13 wild card for a while. I think there's great upside. I would definitely go for it.
Okay, so we'll answer this keeper conundrum, which a lot of people have. A lot of people have Pope, Guaita, Ward. Some people have Kepa, etc. If you had to play a keeper, now that we know that most keepers have tough games this week, and certain keepers, which are mediocre keepers, have decent games, who would you start out of? Pope, Guaita, Ward, and let's say Kepa because he's in the chat.
I think I'll go for Kepa. Like you said, right? There's a mixed bag of fixtures with these keepers, but I think Kepa plays for a better side. Plays for a top six side. He's really cheap. I think I'll go for him. In the next four, there's enough potential for at least two clean sheets. With Potter's system, I would go for Kepa.
Okay, let's let alone Kepa now. That's one between Ward, Guaita, and Pope. Now these are probably more popular keepers, and most people have Pope and Ward, which even I'm debating at the moment. So what my thought is basically, if you're playing Trippier, if you're not benching him for someone like Andreas, I think bench Pope, play Ward, take the chance, split the risk because Tottenham will score. Also, there's news that Trent is benched. Sorry to interrupt that, but Trent is definitely benched. So, for people eyeing that, we should add it up here. Trent is benched somewhere.
Yeah, I think I'll just drop a comment.
Yes, Trent is benched for
So I think it could be a case of like we discussed. It could be Milner playing right back and
yeah,
Harvey Elliott
Harvey
on
Elliott playing in the midfield.
the
It
the
seems.
the effect of this could be, I think this really benefits Salah. I think there is a great chance he plays up front. I am personally looking at captaining him, and this is music to my ears. So if you're sort of stuck, if you're considering that captaincy punt on someone different, I think this could be the week for Salah. You can take the risk, go against Haaland. Are
I
you are
mean,
you
I'm
still tempted, Anshuman?
I'm trying to curb my risk appetite and go for Haaland. It's easy for, as we discussed earlier, we were discussing before the pod that it's easy for a City fan to not captain Haaland and still be happy with him scoring. But as a non-City fan, and he just happens to score every game, I don't think the risk is worth it. Probably Salah is still about 50% EO around my rank, and it's fine if he scores. You're still gaining a lot of rank, so I think that's totally fine there. Although there is a total proper case to be made that Salah can outscore Haaland this game week. My only problem is also Nottingham Forest have tightened up at the back. Yes, they're still bad, but against the big size, they try to keep it more compact. At home, especially, they try to keep it more compact. They do not allow a lot of space. Yes, they still concede goals, but it could go either a 1-0 or a 2-0 game or go big as 7-0 or 8-0 as well. I don't think I want to buy the lottery ticket this one because and also because it's not the same creative midfield that they have usually. Yes, Harvey Elliott is good. Salah is playing up top, but Salah on wing creating chances for Darwin is different than Elliott creating chances for Salah. So I think again that puts me off from Salah captaincy.
Yeah, I think there are enough. Purely down to your risk appetite, right? It could go wrong, and if it goes wrong and Haaland bangs two or three, then you're looking at a big red arrow. So I see where you come from. Let's take some more questions. So there are questions about Kufal. So Liam is asking, is Kufal likely to start? I think you should not be dependent on Kufal because we've seen there's again a lot of uncertainty. Some games Johnson is starting, some games Kehrer has played it right back. So if you somehow still got Kufal, I think he's an easy ship. You should probably take him out. Or if you have a decent starting 11 and you obviously don't want to take his, just put him on the bench. He's not worth an option, I think. Uh,
There's
Perisic
more.
to White hit.
There were more questions. I think there were some questions where people had defenders who were out or not playing this game week. Probably even Tottenham defenders. Would you take a -4 to get in White this week, or just a transfer to get in White?
I mean, if you can play 11, obviously not. I'll just leave him on the bench because if he doesn't start this one, he'll probably start one of the upcoming games. It's not like he's not nailed. But yeah, if you're struggling and without taking a hit, you want to field an 11, then I think Perisic to White or even Saliba because it's a similar price, right? It's 5.1 or something, and Perisic is around 5.2 or something. So yeah, if you want to save cash, then White. But I think Saliba is probably worth the extra cash if you don't have him, of course, or even Gabriel.
Okay, so for me, if I had to take a hit, I would take White because I think it'll get paid off in the next 2 or 3 games easily. Okay, next question we have from WhatsApp. Is it a to get off? Is it a must to get rid of Trossard or for either Saka or Foden? I have Martinelli already, but no City midfielder. I think the fact that you have no City midfielder makes it an obvious move. I think go for Foden, and also Trossard has a tough game this week, so I'm not expecting a lot from him. I think Foden has the upside there, and especially the games coming up as well.
Yeah, I agree. There's an interesting question from Euros. He wants to know which 5 defenders would you target for the next 4 game weeks?
Probably Cancelo, Trippier, they stick. I might look at Gomez because the fixtures are there, so that's one
Okay.
option. I think Dallo is an option from in my head, and the fifth spot White. I think
Ben White. Yeah.
that's
So
where I go.
no 4 million defenders for you. You're just
No,
looking at
I,
it.
I mean, if I
Okay.
had to go for 5 defensive players and you're going there, if I had to make it optimal, I would let go of Gomez, get in Neko, probably even let go. So my priority would be White, Trippier, and Cancelo in that order, and then Dallo, and then Gomez. That's fourth and fifth.
That's a fair shout. Another question: is Rashford a good option until the World Cup? We've not discussed Rashford a lot. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, so I mean, I like Rashford as an option. There are only two problems. This week he has a slightly tough fixture, obviously against Chelsea. He can score, but again, it's still a big game. I like him as an option from next game week onwards. But just a caveat for people who are looking at Rashford: Martial will be back next week, so it's very
Yeah.
possible that Rashford will go again back at the wing, and Martial will be starting up top. It's just something you want to watch out for if you're going for Rashford. Otherwise, he's a great option. He's looking good. He's not finishing, but he's getting the chances to get there.
Yeah, I think finishing is definitely a problem because when Rashford does get into good positions, but you can see that when he's up there, he just tries too hard, just hitting the ball at the keeper. I don't think he's a good finisher. So that is a concern for me as well. That's a red flag.
Yep. So everyone asking, should I replace Trossard with Foden and Pope with Edison? I don't think Pope with Edison is necessary. For everyone having Trossard, I think Foden is the obvious move to make. If not Foden, goes Saka. I think I would. I'm slightly more biased towards Saka because of the penalties, but again, if not, Foden is the option.
Yeah, I think a lot of the answer to a lot of questions is Foden because there are a lot of Zaha questions also. Would you take Zaha out for a hit for Foden? I don't think I'll take Zaha out for a hit, but if you have a free transfer, I think it's a good move, but definitely not for a hit. It could backfire, I feel.
Yeah, the reason is probably that Lampard would, and I think even the Wire discusses that Everton will try to go at home and attack Crystal Palace, and that could leave some space behind for Zaha. Uh, but again, if you're taking a free transfer, like my first transfer was Zaha to Foden, and now I'm contemplating it. In that case, I think it's fine because you're getting funds out, and I think because of the Zaha out move, I can afford someone like a Darwin or a Jesus up top. So if you're in the same boat, you probably want to do it.
Yep. Okay, there's a question from Kashif about Cucurella, hold or sell. What would you do?
I think hold. I don't think if he's starting, if he's getting minutes, I think it's fine because I want to spend my transfers on attacking players there because there are more points to grab there.
Yep.
What do you think?
Okay. One more. Kane plus Longstaff out for Jesus plus Foden. I think it's a yes. What do you
I
think?
think I would do it. Yeah, I would do it too.
Yep. Yep. Okay, there's a very interesting question. Cancelo or Firmino? I don't know how because it's totally different positions. But yeah, if you wanted to prioritize one of them, obviously the answer is Cancelo. But again, it's totally two different positions. So if you can elaborate on your question, that will be fine. But yeah, Cancelo would be the answer, I think.
I would agree. I think Cancelo just because he'll get more clean sheet. Also, we've discussed Firmino's minutes risk.
Yep. Just
With more questions coming in, I think Andreas Solanke. Okay, so the Andreas benching question. A lot of people have this. Trippier or Andreas? Who would you bench?
I think I'll play Trippier. He's delivered almost every game week this season. I know the chances of probably Newcastle conceding and Andreas could get something. I think Trippier has a lot more upside than Andreas. I'll pick him.
Trippier does have upside, but again, I don't know. This game looks like where Tottenham will score, so it's not a clean sheet game for me. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if this is a clean sheet game. If I'm starting Trippier again, if you have Pope and Trippier, you bench Pope. Don't double up on the defense. But I think there is a case where Leeds can concede. I'm not sure on their set piece attempts. So I was trying to find this data where how many set piece attempts and headed attempts have they conceded. Leeds as a
Yeah.
team because if that number is large, I think Andreas as a pick over Trippier can work out. Because Tottenham are decent defensively in terms of set pieces. Loris is good and defensively on set pieces they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a fair shot. So on this point, there's a question from Keshav. He wants to know. He says that Newcastle have conceded the least goals this season in the Premier League. So do you think that they'll be a tough nut to crack when Tottenham are up against them? And Tottenham have looked a bit dodgy in recent weeks. So do you think it could be a case where Newcastle do one over Spurs?
I mean, they can, but I think Spurs will look to like come back from the last loss. They look to get a result here, and the playing style of Newcastle might just play in hands of the Tottenham attack because Newcastle will press high. Like they won't press high, but they will attack high to try to get numbers inside the box, and they cross a lot. So it's very likely on the counter they can concede a goal or two.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair one. A lot of questions coming in, so we'll just keep moving. Would you play Andreas or Gehi?
I
Who
think
of
Andreas. I don't see Everton versus Crystal as a clean sheet fixture, to be fair and honest.
Okay, Richard wants to ask. Okay, this is something that we've covered, but we'll go already. Kane and Almiron out for Jesus / Firmino and Foden for -4. Would you do it for a -4?
Yeah, I think I would do it.
Same. I would do it. Two really good players.
I think for everyone who's looking at a hit again, if you're taking a hit, you probably want to do it this week, and you give your player 2 game weeks to cover that hit, and 2 game weeks as an opportunity. I don't think, especially Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, all these players, Arsenal players specifically, I don't think next week is the game week you get them. This is the game week you get them. And I'm still very bullish. If you say we do this a lot on the stream as well, I have a hunch about Jesus this week scoring more and outscoring Saka and Martinelli probably. It's just the way Southampton plays. It's just the way it will. I think it will fold. And just to touch upon that as well, a lot of people are discussing how Saka has been more pivotal in the last few games, and it's because White is playing on the wing and Martin is dropping White. I think it's also because of the tactical change because they played tougher oppositions. If you look at the difference between the tougher games and the easier games, Saka is more wide in the easier games. That's very prominent when he plays in the Europa League as well. And against Leeds as well, he was not very direct. He was more wide, and Jesus was more central. It is because of how team set up, and I think that's going to continue again when they play easier fixtures. Saka will still be slightly more wider, and Jesus will be in the center.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shot. And Jesus is just a workhorse, right? He's like two players
It's
in
just the
one.
4 yellow cards that's stopping everyone from getting him. I think if he was not on 4 yellow cards, if he was on 3 yellow cards, I think I would not even think twice before getting him.
Okay. So Shuja Sayed is asking a number of times. He wants to know who would be the captain out of Salah or Haaland. Uh, Again, mixed opinions on this. If you want a clear-cut answer, I think Haaland is the safer option. I'm personally going with Salah because of the things that we've already discussed. I think NFO are rubbish. Salah could be potentially playing central. He could be on penalty, so there is enough upside. But remember, there's always a risk if you're going against Haaland. We keep saying this n number of times. The effective ownership is going to be really high. So if you're prepared for that risk, if you want to you just brace yourself for a big red arrow. But yeah, I think there's enough upside for Salah. I would still not advise anyone to captain Salah. Honestly, I'm doing it myself, but my advice would be stick to Haaland.
I'm very tempted by Salah captaincy. I wouldn't lie.
Yeah, it is very tempting. I've given in already, so yeah, it's gonna be like repeating myself. But yeah, I see. With Haaland, we've seen, right. I captained Haaland against United. A lot of people went against Haaland that week, and during the game, I saw reactions from people like they
Yeah.
were really depressed because he was just going on and on. 23 points is a lot, and if that goes against you with his ownership, I think it can destroy your game week. So I see where you're coming from when it comes to Haaland.
Okay, so we have another question. Zaha, Tony, Mitro, Andreas. Which one should I bench? A lot of people have Zaha, Mitrovic, and Andreas question as well. So Zaha, Tony, Mitrovic, and Andreas. I think if I had to bench someone, Andreas. Even between Zaha, Mitrovic, and Andreas is the player I would bench.
Yeah,
The other two
same.
are direct. Obviously, there are penalties. The other three are on penalties. So it just takes one foul in the box and you've points there. So I don't think Andreas is a starting option there in my opinion.
Yeah.
Play Trippier or Guehi. I think Trippier he gets more bonuses on set pieces over Guehi. I think Everton score in this fixture, and that is why I'm not very pro on Crystal Palace defense.
Yeah. So someone like obviously some of the comments are about our teams. Like, are we planning to reveal our teams?
Yeah, we will. I think
We will.
we as it gets closer to the deadline, we will. I'm still waiting on news from Liverpool because that will decide what transfer do. This what is the second transfer I make? Do I go Jesus over Tony? And it's probably a split. What do you think, Z? Should I go Jesus for Tony for a hit, or should I remove Sinistera for a Saka?
Wow, for a hit.
Yeah, it's for a hit. So both of the moves were for a hit, and I'm okay with taking a hit because I think the upside is there. I'm more pro on Jesus because I think he's more central. He is the more direct target this game week. The only problem is that if he gets a yellow this game week, it's a very big issue next game
Yeah.
week.
I think for that reason alone, if you're keen on taking it, I'll probably go for Saka. But I would personally hold because I think Sinister is a fine option. He can do a job. All he needs is one return. If he gets one return, you're looking at Saka to score at least two to sort of break even. But if you really had to take that hit, I think my pick would be Saka for sure.
Okay.
Someone is asking if they should captain Firmino. No, don't do that. Please
I don't
don't do
think
that.
so.
Yeah. Owning him is enough. There's no need to do it. News on Darwin, we've discussed this already. We don't know that. We'll know soon in about 10, 15 minutes closer to the deadline. But we do know, just want to repeat for our viewers who have just tuned in, Trent is benched is the news that we've got. Uh, so yeah, that's one update about the Liverpool lineup so far. A lot of Cucurella questions. Cucurella, Perisic or Trippier, who would you start out of these three?
I think Trippier. No, we know that Perisic is not starting, so it's very unlikely that he plays. So that's out of the window. I think between Trippier and Cucurella.
Same question, but instead of Perisic, it's about Castagna. So Cucu, Castagna, or Trippier, who would you
I
start?
think then Castagna. He looked very attacking the last game as well. He's dangerous. So clean sheet chances, attacking potential going there.
Yeah, and I think Lady Luck sort of likes Castagna as well because there have been instances in the past where Leicester have conceded the odd goal towards the end, and Castagna was hooked off around 70, 75. When he kept the clean sheet, got a couple of bonus, while the other Leicester defenders and Ward, they sort of just got 2 points. Yeah, I mean, it has its benefits, getting hooked off every now and then a bit
Yeah.
early.
Okay, Jesus or Darwin on a wild card. I think Jesus. Since you're on a wild card, you're not worried about a transfer. Even if he's benched, you can sell him off next week, and that's totally fine. So I think Jesus.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Start Andreas or Almiron. I would start. Personally, I think I would start Andreas. I would take a chance on Andreas.
Okay.
What about you?
Are you not impressed with Almiron because he's been really attacking it?
I mean, I was impressed. I just think that Tottenham is a tough game, and it's not an easy game to get points. I think it's basically I'm targeting the team. Is Leeds an easy opposition to get points or Tottenham? And I think Leeds is probably the easier one there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, not much between. I'll probably go Andreas as well. And it's not like he's playing deep. He's playing right behind Mitrovic. So yeah, root 2 points out there.
A lot of people asking, do we take Saka and Foden both for a -4 hit?
Wow. I think I'll just go one. I mean, purely down to the player you're taking out. So if you're taking out someone like Zaha for a hit, I don't think there's because he's ticked along well in the last. I know he has a bad reputation, but in the last three, he has a goal and he has an assist. He is on penalties as well. So I think there's a risk if you're taking out someone like Zaha. But yeah, if you're taking out someone like an Almiron or a Trossard, these are the players that are going out, then I definitely like the -4. If you can be specific to that question, then yeah, it would make a lot of sense. But yeah, someone like Zaha, I won't take him out for a hit this week.
And Perisic, someone asking, do you think Perisic plays 0 minutes? I don't think so. He'll come on. So that's up to you. I think there's no point taking a chance against Newcastle for some attacking potential in 15 minutes. I think if it's a benching, just bench him, and he's not expected to start, so don't take the chance.
True that. A question about Mason Mount from Keshav. Is Mason Mount a good option this week?
He's a good option overall. So if you have him, hold him. If you're potentially looking at buying him, I wouldn't buy him this week.
That's right. I agree. Andreas or Almiron to Foden -4. Yeah, I think so.
I think for Almiron to Foden, if I had to choose between the two transfers, so yeah, I would do it for a -4 as well.
Purely because I think Andreas is a better bench fodder at that price. So you probably keep him as your fifth midfielder.
Trossard, Andreas to Saka and Foden for a -4. I would do it for those two players for a -4. If you're getting Saka and Foden for the run, and I would do it without a doubt.
Definitely. Who would be your pick if you had to pick one? Ben White or Dalot?
Ben White. More clean sheets, direct, decent. Dalot has got goal threat. He's got attacking potential as well. But I think United are still slightly unpredictable. Arsenal are more banked on clean sheets, I think.
I think Ben White could potentially get some assists because I've been watching their games
Yeah.
recently, and they're trying to replicate what City do in the half spaces, where Saka sort of tucks in, plays that ball to an overlapping Ben White, and he's fizzing in those low crosses. And I think someone like Jesus or Odegaard will score, and obviously the beneficiary in terms of FPL assist would be White. So I think there are some attacking returns on the way if you are fancying Ben White in that right back role.
Again, Pope and Ward. If you're not playing Trippier, I think play Pope. Otherwise, bench Pope and play Ward. It depends on Trippier. I wouldn't say double down uh, on the Newcastle defense.
Yeah,
So okay,
yeah, that's
there's a lot of mixed rumors lying up on the Twitter space. So some people are saying Firmino is benched and Darwin starts, while the others say it's Firmino who starts and Darwin is benched. So I think wait for more 5 or 6 minutes if you can closer to deadline, and then we'll have more concrete news. Uh, okay, see, till then we'll just go through your team quickly, and then we'll go
yeah,
through my team as well, and then you can take up the final questions.
yeah.
Here's your team. I read it out for everyone. He has Pope, Saliba, Gabriel, Doherty, Salah, Zaha, Mount, Foden, Haaland, Darwin, and Firmino in the team.
Yeah, three terrible weeks. I was doing well, it's around 700k. The last 3 weeks have been quite bad, down to 2 million now. So yeah, looking to get back at it. So that's one of the reasons why I think Salah captain could be that nice differential who sort of pushes me up the ranks. So I'm happy with him. I've just made one transfer this week. Harvey Barnes, who did well for me. I think it's time to let him go because there's clearly a better option for the reasons that you've discussed already. Phil Foden, he sort of picks himself. So yeah, I took Harvey Barnes out for Phil Foden. He makes his way in. Happy with my attacking, triple up from Liverpool because the uncertainty around both of them, right? I think they'll share minutes, but what matters is one of them will at least start every now and then, and there's obviously Salah who's pretty much nailed on to start every game. So yeah, happy with that. Paul has predicted that Doherty might not start, so I might be looking at someone like a Neco Williams coming in. So I don't know, might be a 0 or a 1 pointer, but I'll just have to take it the way it comes. Pretty happy with the rest of the team, I guess.
I think
Yeah,
Doherty comes on for a point, so that should be fine.
yeah. Hopefully he does something
Yeah,
if he comes and gets 20-30 minutes. Let's move on to your team, Anshuman.
Here's my team. I think I have Pope, Trippier, Cancelo, Sesseon at the back, Sinistera, Martinelli, Salah, Foden, Tony, Haaland, and Mitrovic. On the bench, I have Andreas, Doherty, and Walker Peters. I think we had a couple of questions on Walker Peters as well. Some people had Walker Peters in their team, and if he's injured, if you don't have a bench, sell him for a white. I think that's a decent option. Or Robertson. I think there's upside there this game week.
Yeah.
And my team looks set. I think Sinistera or Tony to sell is the question. And I also want to touch upon this. Between Tony and Mitrovic, if you had to sell someone, who would you sell for a forward this game week?
Wow. I think Villa have been quite bad. Honestly, I would keep hold of both of them this week. But if you sort of force me to sell one, I think I'll probably sell Tony out of the two.
Villa have been bad, but the only thing that's playing on my mind is the fact that new manager probably after Gerrard's sack, they'll
Yeah,
try to
the new
defensively
manager.
solidify first. I think they have a
True.
decent squad in defensive terms. So if they play a three defensive midfielder setup, they can do decent. So McGinn, Dendonker, and probably Ramsey. That could set up a very Douglas Lewis if his red card is resigned it or however it works out for them.
Yeah. It could be that new manager bounce thing, and I think Gerrard was a big problem. He was holding back a lot of players.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough. It could be that case. Yeah, I think Tony, if you were to sell one of these two, I'd definitely keep Mitrovic. Leeds are very leaky at the back. There could be goals for him.
So there's a lot of people saying I think Darwin is starting, which does make this entire setup and question like stream into question because now if Darwin is starting, a lot of people are going there. Indian, I'm interested in going there. My team looks very shaky. So the team told by okay, so there's another guy who's more reliable. I think it's Team News who's saying Allison, Milner, Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Elliott, Salah, Firmino, and Carvalho start. So it's no Darwin. So I think that's
Okay.
the lineup. That's the expected lineup. I think we'll post it here as well in the chat, and that's the lineup at the moment.
Yeah. And that sort of seems more logical. And obviously, the guy that
Yeah.
Anshuman just spoke about, he's really reliable. He's given out accurate team news in the past.
In the past as well, yeah. So I've
Yeah.
pinned it here. I think even Varun put it. I've pinned it here as well. Here's the lineup. So here's the Liverpool lineup. I think then it's between Sinistera or Tony. The only reason I want to keep Tony this week is the penalties. Again, I think Villa will bounce back. It's not a very easy game to score. Very
Yeah.
unlikely that he scores this one. So again, Jesus or Sinistera is the question. It also boils down to the plans I had in future. So Sinistera would become Rashford or Anthony next week. That was the easy route there. But if
Yeah.
I go Sinistera to Saka, I'm not only out of budget, then I'll have to hold Tony next week as well.
I think the fact that you've got like all three strikers that you've got there on penalties, and we've seen it with Mitrovic in the past 2 game weeks, where he's not scored an open play goal. Last 2 goals, he's scored a penalty in each one of them. So I think that's the benefit where the striker could be having an off day, may not
Yeah.
be at his best clinically, but he has penalties. I think that's a big factor for Tony as well, because if you bring in Jesus for a hit, he does not have penalties. Yes, he could do well, but Tony just gets one penalty, and you're looking at Jesus to get at least 2 or 3 returns. So I think that is something that you could consider.
I still have to make that call on the stream. So that's there. We wait minutes. We'll take up quick questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Varun sort of specified that Salah is potentially a part of the front too. So that
Yeah, he's
is, I
definitely
think,
a part of the front too. So that's another question. Would you now, knowing this, captain Salah or recommend captaining Salah over Haaland?
yeah, I am doing it. I am totally doing it.
Also, there's news that Darwin might not be on the bench. Also, just want to before you answer.
Yeah. In that case, I think this is when players like Andreas sort of come in handy, because he's the optimal fifth midfielder. So when one of your solid options are not playing, he comes off the bench. It's gonna be that case for me as well. I've got Andreas Pereira first on the bench, so yeah, pretty happy with that. And obviously, a lot of Nunes questions in the stream before this. If you're watching it now and if you're looking Nunes, especially in a case where he might not even feature on the bench, and if you're on wildcard getting targeting transfers, just go Firmino or Jesus for now. I think those two are considerably better options if you consider that he misses out on one game completely. That's a big factor.
A lot of people asking Cucurella starting. He Chelsea are expected to start with the same setup. So Cucurella, if not in the back four, will start in the back three mostly against United.
And I don't think there's like much in it, because a lot of questions are about someone like a Cucurella with a Perisic or even a Trippier. I think all these three, obviously Perisic could be any Spurs defender. I don't think any of these three defenders are keeping a clean sheet. They will definitely concede. So, and it's almost impossible to predict attacking returns from any of them. So I think this is a coin toss, to be very honest. You just play the one, and yeah, Trippier, I think he's proven, right? He's got really good underlying numbers. So I'd probably play him ahead of Cucurella, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm still thinking. I'm actually in my thinking mode at the moment. Should I go? Should I go Saka or his? Anyways, Pope or Ward, I think if you're not going Trippier, play Ward. I think I have the similar doubt as well. Andreas, I was trying to find set piece threat. I'm not sure if I've found any news on that. There's some question on Raya versus Ward as well. I think Raya. I think I'll start Raya.
Yeah, I think Raya, he's surprised a lot of people. He's been getting a lot of good points. I think he's a fair shout at that price.
And
Some questions
yeah,
about Emerson starting. We don't know, and
we
it's
have
very
no
hard.
news on Emerson.
It's again like Kufal, like he's just a 4 million defender. Should not be dependent on him starting games anyway. If he gets some points, then yeah, good. I wouldn't start him, of course.
And 4 million keeper, I think if you're on wildcard, probably if not Ramsdale, Pickford is an option. Go there, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Sanchez, no, I don't think Brighton are good defensively anymore under the new manager. He's publicly saying in his press conferences that he wants his team to attack. He said it. He wants to do it against City this game week as well. I don't have a. I mean, why would you do that? I think he's just asking for trouble. I don't think Brighton are a match if they go head to head with City in terms of attacking. I think they're in for a big thrashing, maybe a 4-0 final. Yeah, which means Sanchez might not get even safe points. So
Yeah,
yeah, definitely not him.
there's about
I
5 minutes
think
left. On wildcard,
quickly.
Martinelli. Yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
Zee.
No, take the question. Then we'll talk about your team.
On wildcard, Martinelli, Saka, Darwin, or Jesus, Zaha, Martinelli, Saka. So Martinelli, Saka would be there, and I would start with Jesus this week, and you can always switch to Darwin or start with Firmino this week and switch to Darwin. So just because you're a transfer ahead of everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. -8 to take out Wilson, Trossard, and Reece James to get Jesus, Foden, and White. Wow. -8. That's interesting. But the moves are good. What do you think?
I think it could pay off. I think with James injured, Trossard having a tough game week, Wilson also in a very different role than usual, can pay off. I would do that.
Yeah, I agree. Just 4 minutes to go. What have you decided, Anshuman? Are you taking out a Tony or a Sinistera?
I've not decided. I'm not sure on the captaincy as well. I'm looking at
Wow.
my team. There's 4 minutes left. Have to take a call. Have to even sort my bench. So that's there. I'm just not very keen on Saka. I'm not sure. I think Foden for a -4. Yes, you can keep on taking questions till then. I think I'll think about my team for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Who should be on the bench? Trippier or Socek? Sandeep is asking. I think I would bench Socek, Sandeep, because of, like, obviously I think Trippier is more than just a defender. He's been very consistent, proven asset. I would start Trippier. Uh, DV wants to ask Gaita or Ward, who should I bench? I don't think there is much in it. I think they'll both concede. I'll probably be tempted to start Ward. Again, not much in it. I think they're both bad defenses, but Leicester have been all right recently, so that would be my pick. Joel wants to ask Castagna or Bruno G, who to start. Again, I'll probably play the midfielder. I think Bruno could get something out of it. And like I said, that Palace and Leicester, they're both as bad when discussing the Gaita and Watt question. So yeah, just start the attacker. Obviously, Bruno G is not really an attacker, but he plays further forward, so he would be my pick. Uh,
I mean,
Raghu,
there's replacement for Walker Peters. I think if you have 3 playing defenders, just keep Walker Peters out. No need to start him.
yeah, yeah. Purely down to, like, do you really need a starting player this week?
Yeah.
If yes, then I think Vatsal sort of answers this question himself. He already has White. Oh, he already has White. I thought he's
Yeah.
talking about getting in White. Any other probably a Dallo, but he has a bit of a tricky fixture this week. Any 4.5 defenders that stand out?
I think still Dallo because he's good fixtures ahead. I think no other 4.5 million defender stands out for me.
Yeah, yeah. We'll stick to Dallo then. Should I
I think
take
I'm
Grant?
picking my team. I'm putting in Ward at the moment for Pope. Yeah, I think I'm doing that for a 4 point chance. And I'm Sinistera or Saka. Sinistera, Saka or Jesus. I'm split. I'm not. Why not Ward over Pope? I'm going Ward over Pope.
Okay.
And
That's a
there's
fair
about 2
shout.
minutes left. Yeah.
I think about your transfer, if you're not sure, I think the best thing is to always just hold on and not make any more. Especially when it's a really 50-50 call where you're not sure it has to be Saka or Jesus. So I think, yeah, the better thing could be just stick with what you've got and see how it unfolds. And you've got Andreas coming on if you need a first sub, I guess.
Yeah, it's not probably the type of manager I am. I will take a chance on one of these players. I'm not sure if whether I should go Saka or Darwin.
I think there's a lot of Saka love in the chat for you. I think people want you to go for Saka. There's also a Granit Xhaka question. FTFH is asking, should I take Granit Xhaka? The answer is no. Please don't. There are better Arsenal options. I think Xhaka is fine, but in FPL he's a bit of a waste of a spot, even at that a reasonable price.
Okay, so I've taken a call. I've taken a decision. 30 seconds left. My final team is Ward, Trippier, Cancelo, Session, Martinelli, Salah, Foden, Sinistera, Jesus, Haaland, and Mitrovic. I've taken out Tony. I'm taking a chance on Jesus. I think this is the game he scores.
Yeah, I think the signs were there. You're very tempted by Jesus, and he's finally in.
Yeah.
Captaincy.
Haaland. I'm going Haaland. I'm not going
Okay.
Salah. Even if scores, it's fine. I think he get points. I think he gets points out of at his ownership. I get points as well.
Yeah, and Sandeep is repeatedly asking that question: Salah or Haaland?
I think
I
Haaland.
think Haaland. Yeah, just play it safe, especially this late in the deadline. We're assuming you already had Haaland captain. Just stick with him. I think we fancy both of them to score. It's just a matter of who scores more, and it's something that Anshuman pointed out previously on the stream. Obviously, we passed the deadline, but yeah, just to clarify it, that Salah's effective ownership is not that high. So even if you've not captained him and he does well, you'll get points. He'll contribute to your green arrow. So yeah, that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, and that's it. I think it's time up. This is it is deadline. We've had a
Yep.
lot of questions coming in still, but again, it's deadline. We can't really make changes. Okay, see, I think it was a good stream. A lot of people still watching, guys. Make sure before you leave the stream, hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. We
Yep.
make regular pods. We do it every week, and yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon.
Yeah, don't forget it was lovely chatting to you all, lovely answering all your questions,
Yeah.
and we will be back next game week with another pod. Until then, it's a goodbye.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Bye.